Hello, thank you for tuning in today. So today we're going to answer the question, who needs estate planning and why is that important? So after you watch today, you will learn why indeed it is so important, who should be doing it, and when. My name is attorney Robert Pecori. I've been helping families with estate planning and elder law matters for 28 years now in my family's firm, Pecori Pecori. So the quick answer to the question, who should be doing it or why is it so important? Everyone should be doing it. From teenagers to the elderly and everyone in between should be concerned about doing estate planning. Why is this so important? We're going to talk about numerous reasons, but primarily, number one, so your wishes are followed. You want to be able to determine the distribution of your assets. You don't want a court or another individual to be determining where your assets go when you're gone. Also, you want to be able to include or exclude certain people from the distribution of your assets when you're gone. Again, you don't want a court or someone else making that determination for you. Also, another reason, you want to be able to maximize tax savings. In Pennsylvania, I'm talking about inheritance taxes, but I'm also talking about income taxation from your retirement assets when they pass to your loved ones. Another reason, you want to be able to protect your assets. By protection, I'm primarily talking about protection from the cost of long-term care, which is extremely expensive. Lastly, you want to be able to protect certain persons, and we'll talk about this more, but that's basically special needs persons who may be receiving part of your estate and how you must go about that. Another reason, or another way to explain this to you as to why this is so important, is to tell you what can happen in the absence of planning. Okay, so if you do nothing, you have no will, you have no power of attorney, you have no trust, anything like that, it can be very devastating for you, both while you're alive and when you're gone. Again, I mentioned earlier about the wrong people. In the absence of planning in Pennsylvania, it's called intestacy. If you have no will, it's called intestacy. Intestacy means that there is a statute in Pennsylvania that will determine who receives your assets. Now, it does discuss spouses, it does discuss children, and it keeps going, and it'll name aunts and uncles and cousins, etc. But you want to be able to name who those persons are. You don't want the statute making that determination. It may not necessarily be the person or persons that you wished. Another reason, you want to be able to exclude or control certain problems that might arise as a result of your estate planning. And by this, I'm talking about a few things, problems generally with your heirs. If you have an heir who has a drug problem, if you have an heir who maybe has a spending problem, who suffers from poor financial management, you probably want to be able to control how those people get hold of your assets. You don't necessarily want your estate flowing directly to them without some type of control, because it's probably going to get shot relatively quickly. Also, you do not want to have a court to determine who will do things for you, both while you're alive as well as when you're gone. And one of the chief things that people don't always think about is you want to be able, if you have minor children, to name a guardian for them. That's the guardian is the person that would step into a parental role for your children if you're in the event that you and your spouse are both gone. In the absence of planning, when you haven't named that person, that's a court supervised proceeding, and the court's going to determine ultimately who that person may be. Also, while you're alive, an important role, power of attorney. You want to be able to name the power of attorney that's going to help you while you're alive. In the absence of a power of attorney, things can get quite expensive because you would be subject to what's called a guardianship proceeding. A guardianship proceeding, again, this is a court-supervised function. The court will determine who should be named to take care of you if you become disabled or incapacitated. Guardianship is extremely expensive. It's lengthy. It can be quite adversarial and quite difficult on family members. You want to be able to avoid guardianship at all costs, and it's very easy to avoid it by simply having a power of attorney naming the agents that you wish to manage these things for you. Another reason why planning is so important, loss of benefits. So we mentioned this earlier. If you have a special needs loved one who is receiving perhaps Medicaid or Social Security disability, if they receive a lump sum from you in the form of an inheritance, it can disqualify them from those benefits. In most instances, you want those people to be able to continue to receive those benefits for the rest of your life. And you can accomplish that with proper planning through what's called a special needs trust. You can direct that your distribution to your special needs loved one goes to a special needs trust for their benefit. When it goes to a special needs trust, they remain eligible for their benefits. The trust is able to supplement anything that they may need, so your money is still able to help them when you're gone, but you keep them eligible for the needed benefits that they're getting. Also, another reason, loss of assets. So by this, again, I'm talking mostly about long-term care. Long-term care is extremely expensive. In Pennsylvania, it's $10,000 per month per person. Even when you've developed a really nice or saved a really nice nest egg for your retirement, most families cannot absorb a six-figure per year cost for long-term care. So how can you avoid that? With proper planning, well ahead of the need for long-term care, you can plan against it. You can insure against it. You can do certain trust planning to avoid your assets being spent all in long-term care. So you'll be preserving assets to go to your heirs and your loved ones rather than going to a nursing home for your care. Also, with loss of assets, I mentioned this earlier, if your assets go to the wrong person, perhaps a drug habit, a spendthrift issue, they're going to go through them very quickly. You are able to protect that with certain type of trust planning. Another reason, loss to taxes. In doing proper estate planning, you want to be able to maximize tax savings. You want to be able to defer taxation if you can, and you want to be able to minimize as best you can income taxation, especially on retirement assets. You can accomplish this in a couple of ways. One of those is called an IRA inheritance trust. That's a trust that holds your assets from your retirement plans instead of going directly to your heirs. That can be beneficial because it gives you several different options from a tax standpoint on how to handle the income taxation due on those. Lastly, you want to be able to have authority over certain things while you're alive. In the absence of planning, you don't necessarily get that. A common example is a college student. Nowadays, your college student has a problem at school. The school cannot talk to you about it. They cannot tell you about the grade or the class that your student may be failing. They can't talk to you about the health problem that the student may be having because now they're an adult. They're over 18. They no longer have to get your permission to speak to the person. That person's an adult. So a college student with a proper power of attorney can still allow mom and dad to be able to help them out. So these are just some of the reasons why estate planning is so essential. The key is don't wait for the problem to arise. Take care of it ahead of time. Plan against it. With proper planning, you can avoid or eliminate all of the problems that I just mentioned. You should be the one to decide where your assets go. You should be the one to decide who gets to make decisions for you, not a court of law or a judge. With proper planning also, you get peace of mind that your loved ones are provided for and protected. So thank you for tuning in today. For more information about estate planning, please visit my website at pecorielderlaw.com, where you can watch my free webinar on how to save money from nursing home cost. You can also schedule your free consult with me to talk about what might be the best estate plan for you. Thanks again for tuning in. Have a great day.